developmental League of Legends. It is finally here. The week we have all been waiting for. Developmental League of Legends has begun. Tier
It's
3 has
back.
begun.
It's
OQs have
back.
begun. There's something happening this weekend as we get the first 4 rounds of the open qualifiers going over Saturday and Sunday of this weekend. We also have CLOL regional playoffs to talk about. It really feels like we're back in a swing, and I
Yes.
am so happy about it. My name is Grapes, joined alongside Hawk. Hawk, we've made it. We're here.
We're here. We've done it. Somehow League of Legends has returned. I can't believe we finally done it. And now it's great because we're immediately into the part of the year where it's the best possible time to be a developmental League of Legends fan. Right? Because we're gonna have like a month of like crazy lead up, and then we're gonna get to NACL slash CLOL like nationals, you know what I mean? Like NACL plus CLOL nationals, and it's gonna be amazing, and we're all gonna have a great time. Yeah, I cannot believe we've actually made it to this point. It's been a long time coming, but we've had announcements go out, including the fact that I'll be on the broadcast, and you were invited to be on the broadcast as well. But unfortunately, this guy has a real job.
Yeah,
So he couldn't do it.
we're
But
unfortunately unable to make that work out. I'm hoping in the future we'll be able to move some shifts around and make things happen that way, and so we'll be hopefully doing more casting in the future there. But what I will be doing this weekend is for at least the second half of every day. I'll be going live on Salty Runback, and we'll be watching through some of the games. I haven't really decided. Hawk and I really haven't really decided exactly what that's going to look like. And I want to do whatever I can to just make sure that the qualifier broadcast is as successful as possible and the coverage is as good as possible. But make sure to go support those guys. But if you need another avenue or another game that's being streamed, I'll probably be around for the back half of at least these first 2 days, and then we'll see from there. But just overall very excited to get things going. Before we get started and before we continue any further, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe down in the YouTube channel, as well as our Patreon page, which we have just launched another new show, which is Semi-Pro POV, where Hawk, you sat down with Toasty and watched some of those Pulse Star scrims that we talked about last week. Looks like it went pretty well for them.
yeah, let us know who you want to hear from next. By the way, we're about to have a whole weekend of OQ games to go through. We'll have another one on deck hopefully for this week. But man, me and Toasty had a great time. He talked about like all of the terrible voice comms that his team had. And also was a really good sport about, I think like actually probably one of the, it's funny to say this because Toasty's like 18, but one of the more mature players that I've already actually heard talk about his like career trajectory, which I think was really cool. So definitely make sure you subscribe, grab that video. You can also get the video on its own if you want, but if you want to watch more than one Patreon video in a month, then you may as well
You just subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're slowly rolling out the new shows. If you're an overdoser, don't worry. We got our other stuff coming this week, maybe next week. We're slowly getting everything together, but it's been fun to roll out the shows. Also, join the Discord as well. Whether or not you're on Patreon, we argued about international esports for like 3 hours today. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
What I've learned this weekend is through our Discord and through all of that is that people can just talk for hours and hours about
Hours.
anything that's related to
Guys,
League of Legends. So
Yankos has a better career than Peanut. And also, Gala is
my
not
God.
one of the top 5 greatest AD carries of all time. I need
See,
everyone to go in the Discord
I
and
missed all this, and so
at Quacks and say both of these things. Okay, thank you.
all right. Well, we're gonna start things off with a Patreon question. Which another perk of the Patreon, you get access to an exclusive channel in the Discord where you get to suggest a headline for us to use on the show. We actually have 2 of them, and we're gonna get through one of them right here to kick things off. And it's a little bit more of a fun one to start. As Shonatonin asks, "What is your favorite song or piece of music or just anything about that recently?" So Hawkins, you can go first. This is not a League of Legends question, but
No,
this
it's not.
is what we're here for.
It's a question. Yeah, I love it. Shout out Sean. I think he had one of our Patreon questions last week too. But this is a hard question to answer. Like he literally just said like, "What's your favorite piece of music?" I'm like, "I don't know." But dude, I've been listening to like I don't know, the Catfish and the Bottlemen recently. Does that make me sound like really basic? They're like a little indie, I guess, but
I don't
yeah,
know
it's
who
just
those
I like
guys
they
are.
got a good album. Fuck, what's the name of the album? But I found it through the song Cocoon. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Where it's like It's good. Just look up the Catfish and the Bottlemen, the song Cocoon, and then also the whole album that goes with it. It's a pretty good album. It's like a little indie alternative. And it's basically like this dude for like 9 songs singing about how down horrendous he is. And it's like, you don't get any more indie than that, right?
No.
So,
Yeah, definitely not.
It's good. I've been
This might be a bit of a self-report on how we've been feeling recently, because or just in general, because
well, you don't need to call me out that way.
My pick was well, in terms of favorite album, which is not the question, but I guess is what we're gonna go with, because that was what you started off with.
That's just like recently. That's just what I've been listening to recently. It's hard for me to pick like my favorite.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
In the last few years, favorite album for me, Apricot Princess.
Sorry, I was like, when I went recently, I meant like last couple months. I like how you're like, yeah, last few years.
I know you're like a big music head. I don't listen to that much stuff in general. So,
sure. Anyway,
favorite album, I guess for me, I was gonna shout out is Apricot Princess by Rex Orange County. Also a bunch of sad songs in there. So,
didn't he get canceled?
Self-report. No, he got all the charges got dropped. So
okay.
He's good again.
That's good. Okay, yeah. We'll take it.
I don't know. It always gets a little murky there, but
no, it's okay.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to.
Research. No, it's all good. I did my research. I have deemed it okay for me to listen again. Okay. So I'm gonna. I
mean, dude, you could be like he made Graduation, so it could be worse. It could be worse.
That's not mine. Recently though, Sabrina Carpenter just released her deluxe version of Short and Sweet, and there's some new bangers on that. Busy Woman. Oh my god, crazy. So go check that out if you're a fan of the girlies as well.
Dude, I should check that out. Actually, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I'd really impress someone if I checked that out.
What?
No, we're good.
No. Now you got to say it.
Well, my new girlfriend would be very impressed if I was like, I've been listening to the deluxe album of Sabrina Carpenter. So
that's a hard drop right there.
Look, so like, all right, I mean, I already tweeted the Valentine, like it was there, you know what I mean? Like fucking hell. And so ironically, I discovered this Catfish and the Bottlemen album like 2 or 3 months ago, which like really happened to coincide with events in my life.
So it's good fine. Timing.
We're good. Yeah. We're good.
This is late. This is
what you get more of on the Patreon if you subscribe.
Yeah. So we have a show that we're going to be releasing. I think we're going to get an episode out this week, hopefully, called Shooting the Salt, where it's us just talking about random shit. And that was what this last 10 minutes was.
That really was. This first headline was a perfect example of what you can get on Shooting the Salt. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Also like sleep deprived grapes, and not like normal late night episodes to grapes, because normally like I'm good with this.
No, you're just like a working man.
No, it's like I had to wait. This is like the last few days. I cast an LPL series, went to bed at 6 a.m., then woke up and came over into New York to go to the LTA watch party in New York, and then waking up at 8 a.m. to go to work for a day, and then having an LPL series tomorrow as well. So we're doing a lot.
I'm with you though. Literally on Sunday, I went to the LTA finals. First of all, I slept in for like the first 2 games because I've been sleeping so terribly recently, which actually slept great last night, but I was sleeping so terribly like leading up that I was like, okay, I need to like let myself get 8 hours today, and then like I'll just go late. And then of course TL fucking 3-0s Mega Chokers 100 Thieves, right? And then I'm like tired the whole day, and yet I was still not as bad as Cubby, who got like invited to like the place I was at after. And this man woke up at like 6 p.m. because of LPL. So
yeah, dude, we're
everybody's fucked right now. Yeah, LPL is banging. I've been watching.
We have.
I haven't seen any of your series though.
Well, you should tune in. You should tune in tonight as this episode comes out. We got BLG versus Top Esports. So top 2 teams from Worlds last year going at it in the lower bracket.
Wait, then who's playing? Like tonight, like Monday night.
It's Anyone's Legends versus JDG.
Oh, so it's upper bracket first.
Yeah. So upper bracket, then lower bracket tomorrow. So
cool.
Gonna be fun. But let's talk about North American esports, because that's what
wait. For really quick though, we have a second Patreon headline. Shout out to Camcom. If you want to hear that one, stay tuned until like in between headline 3 and 4. We'll get to that. So
Yeah, yeah. It'll be shorter than this one. I'm pretty
yes.
sure.
I like how we were like, this will be a short headline. Let's just do both Patreon headlines. And we talked for 10 minutes.
Yeah, this will be the first 2 hour Salty
Yeah,
Runback
yeah, yeah.
episode.
All right,
Okay.
let's get the show on the road.
Let's start it off here. A lot of new OQ teams have been announced, obviously, with the qualifier quickly approaching, and the I guess the most notable one, which came out on Monday, is a new team called Citadel Gaming. Now, their roster consists of a lot of NACL veterans and people that I think we are overall glad to be seeing playing this split. Their roster fully consists of Philip, Armeo, Bradley, Instinct, and Trevor. And those are all 5 players that have been in the NACL over the last year and have very high reputations, especially in the tier 2 and tier 3 scenes. So, question to you, Hawk, is a new favorite has emerged with the other 3 favorites in mind: Respawn, Tempest, and Near Airport / the Double Lift team. Is Citadel Gaming a top 3 team in this OQ?
Yeah, I think they're the favorite. I mean, Grapes, we had a lot of discussions on this podcast about what's going to happen with Nightmare. This gives us our answer. Bradley's on a new team. There's also rumors of a Meech team. We don't really know what's happening with anybody else, which is sad because I really wanted to see Kenvi and Breezy on teams. Dokla as well, don't get me wrong. But anyway, yeah, we have our answer. Bradley had a really metal tweet about, like, you guys saw what happened last time I was in OQs. That was an easier OQ. This time he's got Dark Wings and Shochi to deal with. So something to look out for there. But yeah, I mean, I think this team is the favorite. I don't think that's that hot of a take, to be honest. We heard rumors of like an Instinct Phillip team. It has now materialized. The most interesting thing for me, like, about this roster being announced is, first of all, like, I did not have Armeo on my bingo card. I don't know what happened to Kenvi, but we got Armeo and Bradley now instead of Kenvi and Bradley. And then who the fuck is going to be the support for CCG? Because all rumors were pointing towards it being Trevor, which I'm now immediately realizing maybe it'll be Breezy, actually. But regardless,
There's some options. Yeah, there's like, Daptions hanging around too if they wanted to grab him. Like,
right.
Yeah,
There are
there's
options. And we also, Grapes, had, I mean, you want to talk about last time in OQs, it wasn't just Bradley, but it was also Instinct and Trevor.
Yeah,
So.
well, I didn't actually realize that. That's 3 out of 5 of CCG.
Yeah, it's just 3 out of 5 of CCG, and then they have NACL top and jungle.
Who was the jungler on that CCG roster? It was, because I remember it was Crimson. Who was the jungler? It was Yukino. Okay, so they're replacing.
Oh right, yeah.
They're replacing Yukino and Crimson with
Philip and Armeo.
Phillip
Honestly,
and Armeo,
kind of side grades.
I would say side grade overall. Yeah.
Side grade or slight upgrade. It's definitely not worse.
Yeah, and I love how it's another instance of a team that just has like a bunch of existing synergy coming together from different areas. Very similar to the Nightmare roster that initially got announced, unfortunately. But you have, as you mentioned, Bradley, Instinct, and Trevor all kind of reuniting from CCG. You also have Instinct and Philip, who were on Fear X Starforge last season together, that made it all the way to 2nd place in both the Americas tournament and in NACL. And then you also have, from one of the winningest, most successful NACL teams in history, Armeo and Bradley reuniting from 2022 Team Liquid Academy. Bradley was playing top at the time, but there still is a little bit of synergy there.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
A lot of
Armeo went to
here.
Immortals again.
Yeah, I think so. So, I'm very excited to watch this team compete. I feel like they're on par, if not very similar, to that Nightmare roster that got announced. Maybe a little bit worse, but
I think they're weaker than that team. I mean, like, I just think of, like, I think Dokla and Kenvi. Actually, it's hard to say Kenvi's stronger than Armeo. I do think Dokla is stronger than Philip, and then Meech and Breezy is probably stronger than Instinct and Trevor, but, like, I think it cannot be overstated how stacked that Nightmare roster was compared to the rest of the OQ. I mean, again, Grapes, like, we were saying this team could win NACL. I think Citadel Gaming is more of just, like, they're an NACL team. You know what I mean? I don't think they're, like, obviously some contender.
Maybe middle of the pack or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think they'll be good.
So you do have them top 3. Which team do you have out right now? I mean, maybe you don't want to spoil that because we'll talk about it a little later. But
I mean, we talked about this before, and I had it as Tempest. You had it as Respawn. This was before we knew about the Double Lift team, though. I guess, right?
Yeah.
And we thought, Who else did we think was there?
Maybe Ole Miss or something like that, or
Maybe we
just
maybe we
we
thought
just
Ole
said
Miss was
like
still there,
maybe we
or
just said
maybe
like
we're just ranking them.
I think the question was just like, yeah, who could take down Nightmare basically
You
out
might
of
be
the three of
right.
them.
I still really want to believe in Respawn. I will say, word on the street, and then we've also seen the double lift scrim, is that Respawn might be on the team outside looking in. So common conventional wisdom, I guess, would point to that team. I still am not a believer in Tempest Gaming though. Like that sounds so bad. I really like these players. I I think Kisno and Darkwings is an extremely strong mid jungle. Like honestly, in the running for strongest in the tournament, they got to deal with Armeo and Bradley, but I just like don't know what Manui's support is going to look like, even with Aaron, who I think is like probably the best AD carry in the tournament.
I think Instinct. I think Instinct's the best.
You think Instinct is stronger than Aaron? Oh,
Yeah,
that's a hot
I
take.
do.
You're
I do.
dude, the
He's my
number
boy.
one Aaron Lee supporter on Salty
Dude,
Runback just turned his back on his boy.
Instinct was close to making like All Pro in NACL last year. I don't really think Aaron was, all things considered. And yes,
Instinct
he was on
played
a better team, but like he was on a top team and he was performing very, very well on that team, and that I give him some credit for that. So
Instinct?
yeah, I mean, I don't think he actually got
Wait,
named
oh
All
wait, he
Pro,
was on
but
Fear in Summer.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. I mean, I think they're both very good. I don't know what Manui support is going to look like, and I'm still like I've been still hearing so much hoarder hype, and I believe that this guy like does have the sauce. However, I've not seen it in competitive play yet, so
Yeah.
I'm still
I
not
mean,
like
fair
fully
enough.
sold on this Tempest Gaming team. So that'll be my pick. But the word on the street is Respawn.
I'm confident on Manui at support. That guy has hit challenger in I think 3 different roles, top 80 carry and support, and that's not something that like a lot of the other players in this OQ can say. And even when he was on Fear or on other teams like DSG,
Yeah, he
like
plays
he was
weird
playing
shit.
Seraphine, he was playing Senna, like he was playing these different
Just
supportive
like, can
utility
Manui play
pieces. So,
Rel? That's what I need to know. You know
dude,
what I mean?
I think he can for sure. Like maybe that's a hot
Maybe he'll
take,
play like
but
you and just W on site.
yeah. I mean, I think there could have been some games even where Manui was the player like that was playing Tom Kench in some of the Senna TK lanes. I could be completely wrong on that, but
I don't
part of me
remember.
is like making me
It's possible.
think about that. So I still think, yeah, I given the scrims that we saw of Respawn, they don't look super hot right now. Hopefully they have a little bit more time to gel. But they do have the worst record out of any of the double lift teams scrims so far, tied with Apex, who also went 1-4 against them. So
I mean,
we haven't seen
look.
them play against Tempest or Citadel, obviously, but that's the data that we're working with right now.
I think here's a fair take, Grapes. Is like, look, Chad and Lawrence are gonna be solid. They're gonna do their jobs. They're gonna be good. Shochi, like we got to see him really play like peak Shochi again. But I still think like if Sushi plays like an NACL 80 carry, I think his team is absolutely in the mix and they can beat anybody. But if he doesn't, I think they're cooked, right? And I think that's a really like that's a lot of pressure to put on the kid. But I think like, hey man, this is your time to prove it, right? 3 spots open, go and get one. I want to see it. Let's go, Sushi. Go and get a spot.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I think that's really my expectation for this team.
I'm just glad there's a 4th team in here because it will have
Yes.
meaned that all 3 teams that qualify in have like really earned their spot. Like it's not like a situation where there's like a big 3 and then like maybe a bit of a fall off
Well,
after that.
and maybe this
But
is a good segue just into the next headline because let's not act like there's only 4 teams in this
that's
tournament as
true too.
well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
But
yeah, I think this is a clear top 4, but there are other guys here.
Yeah. That's fair enough. And yeah, that's a good idea. We can transition into our next headline right now, as there are other teams in this OQ, not just the teams towards the top. And we got confirmation in the NACL qualifier Discord that we did get the full 64 teams that signed up for the tournament. So I know there was a little bit of hesitation about that, but not bad overall, huh? We got 64
No,
teams that
not
want
at
to play
all.
League of Legends.
Dude, no, it's hype as fuck. I'm really looking forward to this qualifier. We're starting to hear rumors of the teams coming through. So it's important to note at the time of recording, about 10 p.m. Pacific on Monday night, there is no official sheet or like list of the teams. Not even I have one, and I'm on the broadcast. I asked today. We'll get it soon, I'm sure. So everything is still like a little bit speculative. So maybe there will still be more teams. Like we just got the Citadel announcement today. But we probably know who most of like the big dogs are going to be. outside of that top four, Grapes, major teams that we are looking at to be in the running. Formerly known as Chimek, now Galaxy Gaming. This is the Cody City, Ariandel, and Oribi Kim Down team. Expected to be a contender towards the top side of the table. There's a rumored Ducky Getters team with Draco, Vacan, RJS, and Enthralled and Hiccup, which I really don't know what to expect from this team, but that's one of the teams of all time. Apex Mission Impossible, which has been announced for a while. There is a Porsche, Will, Sudsy, Drax, or Jito team with a pretty strong top side. There is a this Gravity team that was announced about a week or less than a week ago.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to talk about.
We haven't gotten to talk about them. Alorum, Shimmer, Robbie Bob, Sage Webe, Alcalamity. Alcalamity, someone that's been really hyped up based on like ACL performances, and a lot of those like tier 3.5 guys have their eyes on him. So I'm cautiously excited, and I think like the Robbie team is always going to at least be decent, right? There's a Wixie team with Moose Hater. And then I don't think this is CLG Wiggly, but it would be really funny if it was.
I think it is. Yeah, probably. Is.
Wait, is it? So Wiggly's back.
I have to assume, right?
I mean, maybe. So Moose Hater, Wiggly,
like
Wixie, and then two randoms is the kind of what I'm getting here, named Dunn and Tyson.
Dunn is like a streamer. Tyson plays with them. Yeah.
There we go.
So
honestly, I mean, probably not a bad team. Yeah. There's a lot of teams. There's the Houston team. There's the Barrack team. St. Clair is here. UCI is here. Grandview is here. Fucking ISU looked like they were going to be here, but I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah. I think what we'll do is next episode, which is like our midweek one, when hopefully there is like a sheet out. It'll either be Thursday or Friday.
64 team tier list.
We're gonna do a tier list or like a power ranking or something. Yeah. But I think the main thing I want to talk about here in this headline is just this first week of the OQ. Like, I think we're all expecting our top competitors, our top contenders to make it through and be on to the next week of games. But what are some storylines? Who are some players specifically that you're going to have your eye on throughout this first week?
Well, let's talk about the Robbie Bob team. So let's start there, Grapes. Shimmer. I think this is a player, had a really solid 2024. I made a whole video about how I thought Reluminate was like better than people expected in their OQ. I was really happy with that video. I want to do more content like that if it wasn't so much effort, because I felt good about my analysis. But anyway, and I think Shimmer was a big driver of that. And now, he's substitute at Maryville. Like, obviously he's not going to overtake UG, but I think he's got a really big opportunity here in 2025 to like really show a lot of people what he's made of and show that he earns that spot, right? Because look, I think it's fair to say like Toasty and Spirax were probably actually competing for the spot. I don't think anyone really thought Shimmer would get the Maryville University spot over UG, but now alongside Alorm and Robbie Bob and then like this young bottom lane, I think this is a phenomenal opportunity. If this team makes like top 8+ in this really stacked OQ, like that's a huge statement. And if Shimmer can play well against guys like Armeo, Spica, Kisno, Chad, City, like that is a huge accomplishment for him. So that's at least one player I want to throw a shout out to, Grapes.
Yeah, this Gravity team is like a mini Respawn to me in a way, where you have like a couple of like these promising players in different roles and like a very young bottom lane, and then it's manned down by a couple of big veterans. And if those rookies or if those newcomers can really take a step up, I think this Gravity team can absolutely be a dangerous contender, and maybe even someone who, if they get a good bracket run or something, like could even sneak in there. But it's gonna have to come off the back of really good play from Shimmer. He's gonna have to like basically play to the level where Yuji's going to have to be worried for his job a little bit, I think. And then Sage Wabe is going to have to go back to that promotion tournament form that we did see from him a couple of months ago. He did play an ACL from what I heard from the people who were covering that league a little closer. He was all right in ACL, but nothing like super special. But in the promotion tournament against like top level talent, he was able to really like show his worth. And so I'm excited about this Gravity team. I don't think they're really too concerned about getting eliminated super early, but definitely a team that I have my eyes on as maybe being one that can jump into that top tier.
I agree. I think if they can finish top 6 alongside Galaxy and then the aforementioned top 4, I think that's like an achievement for them, and they could be very happy about their tournament.
Yeah. What I'm looking forward to is two things, I guess. One is seeing like which meme teams like are real. Like you mentioned,
Yeah, is this Wixie
a
team gonna
USIN
lose in like
team.
the first round?
Yeah,
Like,
like there's always like the Draxter team that drops out early. I don't want to like shout. I don't want to like throw any names out, but I'm a little worried about this third party rebrand. Although like there's a
oh,
boys
I
of boys
forgot
coming
about
back.
that
They
team.
had such a
Yeah,
hype. They had such a
they
hype
brought
roster announcement.
messages back.
I know they brought messages out of retirement for this, and so
Messages, if you're watching, welcome home.
welcome home, welcome back. The duty calls when the OQ's
I'm
announced.
so excited to see messages again.
Dude, when that video came out, and I was just like, oh, Keelix made another video. It's gonna be like some OQ
No,
thing,
I
I
like
guess.
shit
And
myself.
then, dude, literally, like, I saw Limo. I was like, oh, this is hype. And then I see messages his name reemerge from the ashes. I literally like almost teared up.
Yo,
Unironically. It was
Keelix knows how
crazy.
to drop bangers. That's all I'm gonna
Oh
say,
my
man.
god.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But there, all that to say, like there are these like a lot of these names coming back, or people trying out OQs for the first time. I'm curious to see like how they all look like with having taken significant breaks seemingly between competitive play or playing competitive play for the first time. Um, my guess is a couple of these teams that we just dropped, like in terms of like the big names and the big people coming back, at least one of them is going to be out after this first week. It is a relatively cutthroat format. I think we're going to cut about half the teams going into week number 2. And so that is what I have my eyes on. And also what I have my eyes on is like a new team that comes out and really surprises
Yeah,
people with
who's gonna
names that we
be the
haven't heard of.
fucking ducky
Because
getters this year?
yeah, because that's gonna happen in a tournament like this. When it's a bracket, when it's double elimination, things like that. We're gonna get some teams that like have players that we don't really know too much about. And that end up kind of really impressing. A team that I was thinking about from like last year was like a team like the Nameless that had like Hub and Udder on it. They're now on a team again together called Slated 6 with Baruto, Dr. Calculus, and Bio. That should be a very fun
Coached
watch.
by Thin Uncle Phil.
Yeah, but yeah, so like those guys, like we didn't know anything about Udder and Hub really a year ago, but now they're going to be competing on this top team. Like that is a step that some of these new players can take. You think of like a next level esports as well. Like that team like kind of came out of nowhere from like the 28th seed and like really made a big run. So that's the other side of things that I'm gonna be following. I guess like you guys are probably gonna be on the stream like covering like the top tier games and things like that. But I
We'll
don't know.
see,
I'm
man.
very curious about like diving into the weeds, like finding which 49th seed like is now gonna be in like the top 8 bracket or something. So
there's so many good teams here, dude. Like so many I know I shouted out Shimmer. Because I kind of thought that's what we were doing, but man, can Bio and Dr. Calculus do what they did last summer? Like, is Minsu going to help Yusin become the god he's always been? Like, is fucking
how good is Dante's gonna look?
Yeah, is that happening?
He's on some. I think.
Oh wait,
some team somewhere.
What is this team? What is this team?
We're looking.
What is this team?
If you go on to Battlefy, you can see some rosters starting to sign up, and I think that's what we're referring to. We're gonna get into all the rosters once they're fully announced on a
Evan Lai, Dante's, Insane's, Quest, Hodgson, and Realms.
Yeah. It's cooked a little bit.
That is
bro went from
look, no offense, but that is the worst team I've ever seen.
No need to flame right now, Hawk. In 2 days' time, you'll have your chance.
Okay. Stay tuned for Thursday when like Grapes. We're just doing a 64 team tier list. It's gonna be a mega video, hour and a half long.
I can't wait.
Fuck. What? I'm looking at I scrolled down, and I kind of wish I didn't. There's someone named. There's someone named Evil Lobster.
Let's talk about our Patreon question number 2, which is submitted to us by Camcom, one of our admins here at Salty Runback, and they wanted us to do a little fantasy OQ thing. And so here's what we're gonna do.
Is on a team called United Swag Factory. Sorry, I need to stop. That's just United
USF,
Swag Factory and okay. Sorry.
That's just South Florida. Dragoon is not on United, a crazy team. He's just on South Florida. That's United.
Okay. Someone take this away from me. Grapes,
Camcom. If you wanted, hold on. Just a quick shout out before we get back into this. If you wanted to know, United Swag Factory was actually announced in our Discord before it was in the spreadsheet or
I missed that
thing. Yeah. Shout out to Cooley, one of our patrons who is the manager of USF Esports. So
yo, shout out. I
You could have.
definitely
I'm
missed
saying
that.
if you were paying attention to the CLOL
Fuck.
discussion Discord part.
You guys send like
Back.
300 messages in there while I'm like doing something, and I'm like, fuck, I
I
can't read
felt
all that.
today too. Okay, let's get to the question. Let's get to the question. We're
Dude,
gonna
all
get
I'm
an
saying is tier
OQ.
3 is not ready for Cannon Bob. Okay, like
No, Humphreys about to go crazy in this.
Humphreys and Cannon Bob are our goats from USF. All I'm saying is Cannon Bob single dingled Bradley. So
Dude, yeah,
if
he's
Marty
the goat.
can do it and Cannon Bob can do it, anyone can do it.
Let's get into the Patreon question.
Yes.
Cam
Yes.
wanted to do a fantasy OQ draft, and so what we're gonna do, a little bit of an abbreviated format here, as we're already running long here on time. We're each gonna pick 3 players. We're gonna draft 3 players, and at the end of the OQ in 3 weeks, we're going to count up the total number of kills that they have gathered throughout the entire qualifier and see who wins. That sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And
I
Drapes,
came up
let's
with the
agree
rules.
that you cannot each of us has to pick 3 players from different teams.
Okay, sure.
Maybe we can each pick someone from the same team, but like you can't have overlaps.
No,
Or do we want to?
let's spread the love a little bit.
Okay,
Let's spread the love a
full
bit.
6 teams,
Full
6
fearless.
players. Okay,
Yeah,
full
fearless draft.
Full fearless. Do we get to ban anybody?
No.
Okay.
We're getting to in the
We
weeds.
get-
And
yeah,
since
yeah,
I came up with the
okay,
rules,
right.
you get to pick first.
You're my goat for that. All right, give me Sushi. Respawn Esports. He's gonna hard carry. I believe in the kid.
Wow.
I put the pressure on him. I gotta put my money where my mouth is, though. I gotta believe in him.
Okay. So here's a strategy. Here's like part of the strategy that I'm thinking about right now is that even though like your immediate thought is just go to pick the best player on the best team,
But they're not gonna play the
the
most
best team is
games.
not going to play that many games because they're going to be in the upper bracket the whole time. So part of me wants to go to like a lower bracket team a little bit, but I'm going to save that for potentially
Some
later.
could say that's why I picked Respawn.
It's not a bad pick. I'm gonna go with Bradley. Just to safe pick.
That's a
for my
safe.
number 1.
That's a safe one. All right. I feel like I'm trolling if I don't take Darkwings or Aaron right now. Oh fuck! Which one do I want? Because it's like I don't think there's anyone that's like pick ban later on in the list. Oh wait, never mind. I'm taking Yusin.
Okay, not a bad choice.
Taking Sushi and
Not a
Yusin.
bad
I'm just
choice at
taking
all.
like the guys that I shilled for in 24.
I will take Darkwings then.
Fuck. All right. Yep.
So we each get one more pick. I might go for a little bit more of a deeper cut here with my next one. So
I feel like Yusin is my deep cut. Could I go lower? Dude, the Fantastic Five, by the way, that's a fucking insanely good team. It's just like the every MEC All-Star team we've had ever.
yeah, but lately they've been missing the Swiss
they're
stage.
a little hit or
They've been
miss.
missing the Swiss stage recently.
All right, I don't
know.
Dude, honestly, like Robbie Bob could be like a crazy pick here, but I
That's a great pick.
think. Do I ever go like Ariandel? I'm not feeling any of the near airport guys. I don't know why. Give me Spica. I'll take Spica.
All right, I will go Ariandel with my last pick then.
That's a good
You're
pick.
gonna leave him up, so.
You just got all my sloppy seconds, bro.
I just
all
got
the
3
players
mid
mentioned.
laners. I got Bradley, Darkwings, and Ariandel. You got Spica, Sushi,
Yusin
and
Sushi.
Yusin. So you went a little more spicy with me. I went more chalk. I think Ariandel is gonna have a good split. He could have a good OQ. That's my take.
We'll see.
So,
I mean, I believe. Year of Ariandel.
Shout out to Cam for the question. If you want to suggest headlines yourself, subscribe to the Patreon and you'll get invited to our Discord where you can do just that. But let's talk about Hawk CLOL because that is also happening this weekend, allegedly. There's going to be a ton of reschedules. It's going to be an absolute disaster logistically, potentially for some of these teams. But it's okay because it means that we get to watch more League of Legends here this weekend. And I think overall, really quickly, it's going to make more sense eventually because once we get to NACL happening on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there will be CLOL on Saturdays and Sundays. That will be generally a good schedule moving forward. Anyway, after we just finished up Swiss, we got through all 5 weeks, and I think overall we got one of the most entertaining weekends of CLOL that we have had in a really long time. That was not a championship bracket weekend. We had 2-2 teams fighting for their lives. We had 3-1 teams fighting for spots in double elimination. We had 4-0 teams fighting for first seed. We also had a LAN going on in St. Clair as well. I guess overall, at this point in the season, as we await the conference playoffs, what is your general take about the changes to the CLOL bracket, changes to the way that the tournament has gone, and just CLOL overall at this point in the year?
Yeah, quick shout out to University of St. Thomas for winning that St. Clair LAN without dropping a game. So
Perhaps
definitely,
expected, but
yeah, definitely living up to their number one, number two in the nation status. But yeah, sorry, the format, as far as like how we've gotten so far this year and like reflections on it, Grapes. I think I'm gonna be honest. I think they've really hit a home run with this as far as like regular season and playoffs is concerned. Um, regular season a little bit shorter, but best of three Swiss, way better than the group stage. I'll come out and say it because we actually had good matchups for specifically like week 3, 4, and 5. Like we actually had matchups that were worth watching, especially in a conference like East where it's a bloodbath. Um, and even though, yeah, sure, some of those teams that went 2 and 3 are probably a little bit saltier that they didn't have as much of a chance. Like I feel like you know, it's still like overall the best teams made it, and especially given that it's best of three Swiss, like you had to win 3 best of threes to make it, and now this allows for this awesome double elim playoff bracket that looks super super hype. Um, I don't really have any notes to be honest. I think as far as like keeping the CLOL format to 12 weeks, I think this is the way to do it for regionals.
yeah, I mean the way that it's set up right now, so much better than what it was last year because last year regular season was 7 weeks long, and then you had a single elimination conference playoffs where the regular season was just all group stage games, and 90% of the time you were just getting like top team beating up on lower team, and that's just how it happens when you make
And it's also like the
group.
games that matter, even like all the really close together, like, 2 tier teams, right? They're all in different groups. So you don't even get as many of those.
Yeah.
So it's
And
just like,
maybe you get one of them at the end of the year, and but there also is a world where like that matchup happens in week 1 instead of week 2, and then it's like, it kind of loses its value at the end. And yeah, I like it way more that you have like all these high stake games at the very end, and also just shortening the regular season and getting to the conference playoffs a little bit quicker as well is a good solution as is in addition to that. I know that maybe it feels bad for some of the lower tier teams that if like your season can end after just a couple of games played, but there's still 64 teams that are still alive. I think that's a very healthy number right now. And then not that's also not including all the partner conferences that are still continuing their play in addition to them. So um, yeah, I mean, no notes on the regional conferences at least. Shout out to Tim who came up with this format. I hope that if we see a similar situation in the future where it's 32 teams in each regional conference, like this is the way to do it. And so it's been very entertaining. I'm also very excited for the fact that we get double elimination in these conference playoffs as well because some of them are going to get absolutely wild, especially towards the back half.
yes. And especially, well, that was maybe a quick headline because honestly, maybe this is a good segue just into our fifth one, where it's going to get wild towards the back half, and especially with 4 auto bids per conference available. You have to make it to the upper bracket finals to secure your spot or the lower bracket semifinals, which is a long, long road. At least 2 best of fives, right, to win.
Yeah,
And then
they're
if
all
you're
best of
starting in the
fives.
lower bracket, you need to win 4, which is pretty substantial. So we can head on over. Grapes. It's a long road to making champs.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask the question. I was
Oh,
waiting. Okay,
okay. It's a
no, you're all
long
good.
road. Sorry. Normally, okay. Yeah, we can roll swap. It's a long road to making champs. And, some teams are going to have an easier road than others. Despite it being double elim, there are going to be matches that are more difficult and matches that are easier. And especially, I think, looking towards those teams outside of like the 1 and 2 seeds in their conference, it's going to be a challenge. And the question I have for you is, which team has the hardest road to getting a top 4 auto bid in their conference?
Now we like when we say hardest, we mean like hardest out of a team that we're expecting to make it, right? Like I could go shout out like Rochester Institute of Technology, who's like the 16th seed in East, as having a very hard road because they're not as good as the other teams. But I'm just looking around like the top ish level teams, like the teams that we would say general consensus top 25 in the country in these playoffs right now. There's one very obvious one that I think um, you have harped on in the past, and that is St. Clair, which is a team that has had a very up and down weekend. They first lost to Western in their 4-0 Swiss game, and then beat Northwood in a best of was it a best of 3? No, it was a best of 1 in that matchup. Yeah, but they
They
did beat
beat Northwood
them,
in a best of one, I think.
beat Northwood in a best of one, and then beat Converse in a best of three to get into the finals of the LAN that they ultimately lost to UST. So, um, they've been very up and down, less consistent maybe than some of the other teams in the
Good showing
competition.
for them at their own land, though.
Yeah, great
So
showing for them in their own land. But just quickly, like they have a killer quadrant of the bracket where they are playing against first they're playing against Samikin and Boston University in round one, who did take a have looked a little bit shakier towards the back half of the season, but are always going to be a bit of a threat. That's not an easy round one matchup. And then they after that will play the winner of University of Toronto and University of Toronto Mississauga, who we saw UTM 2-0 UFT earlier in the year, so I expect them to make it through. That's actually a matchup that I think UTM have a very good chance of winning and sending St. Clair down into the lower bracket. So this is a team that we've considered to be consensus top 10 in the country that I think is going to have a tough road to at least
yeah,
locking up that auto berth early.
I mean, in general, the East is the only region, Grapes, that has more than 4 teams that I think we like reasonably expect to make the top 4 spots. Really quickly, I want to shout out like just some of the best matches I think that we have here in round one of playoffs. We'll start in the North. 4 versus 5, Michigan State University against Minnesota. Two like big state school programs that had really good regular seasons, and I think actually have very realistic shots of locking up that 4th auto bid from North. I think whoever wins this one, their road is infinitely easier. They're probably going to get bopped by Maryville and have to go through the lower bracket in round 2, but still like being able to dodge those first 2 rounds in the lower bracket I think is pretty big. You also have ISU opening their road against Bethany, and then they have to go through UHSP in round 2. Bethany critically dropping a series and an extra game that has them at the 6th seed in North. Not where they want to be. They have actually been outside of the top 25 for CLOL Hub for the last couple of weeks. They're really going to want to bounce back. Like, reasonable expectation should be that they would be the 4th seed out of the North, but they actually have to play like that. And I think in a week 1 against ISU, there's a very real world where they're starting their road in the lower bracket and potentially could get knocked out by a Michigan State, by a Minnesota. In East, you mentioned St. Clair versus BU, UTM versus UFT. We also have Carleton versus Guelph, the 2 teams that both beat Boston University in order to go 4-1
Yep.
in the Swiss stage. A realistic chance again that these teams could just play spoiler or somebody, right? It just takes one best of 5 against a UFT, against UTM, against a BU, and all of a sudden that team's gone, which would be a huge deal. South Florida is starting their road against UT Dallas, which is not a super easy one. I think conventional wisdom has South Florida being one of the teams that gets in. And then Grapes and West, I know you're UC Davis boys. You've been looking out for them. They've got to
Yeah.
go through UW, who had a pretty good Swiss as well.
So
So,
UC Davis though have not actually lost a game throughout the entire Swiss stage. Their only loss in Swiss was a game that they had to FF because they had some rule violation that I don't know exactly what it was. But in that game, they 2-0'd. And then they have 2-0'd the rest of their series as well. So they are looking actually like a bit of a sleeper contender. Obviously, losing around that early means that the rest of your Swiss games are going to be easier.
right.
But the fact that they did kind of run the floor means that I do think that they are actually a big threat.
And
And maybe Weber in that second round could be in a bit of trouble,
yeah,
depending on
and
how they look.
I mean, even that UW team I look at, they're a team that has only lost to UCI, which is a pretty big achievement in and of itself. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of go through those round 1 matchups that we expect to be exciting. But Grapes, I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I think it's that bottom of East, that St. Clair, BU, UTM, U of T pod, where it's like
Yeah.
I like only one of those teams is guaranteed to qualify, and then theoretically everybody else could get eliminated. And St. Clair is the favorite, but I don't think it is clear cut.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I put a little cheese on that UTM Phoenix roster, man. They're looking really good. Big chunk of them actually also playing in the OQs under like I think they're called Kabuko's like something Kabuko's Brewery. Jisung, Munchie, Papa, Aito, and AB. Munchie, Aito, and AB playing together on that team. One other shout out for a team that I think might be not on fraud watch, but a little bit worried about them. It's actually going to be SCAD. They looked very tough in that series against UST in that 5-game banger, and they're going up against UNC Chapel Hill in the first round, a team that they did lose a game against in the first round of Swiss. or in the second round of Swiss, and this is a UNC team Hawk that was seeded 30th in the entire South Conference, who have made it up all the way to the 7th seed. And so I'm a little bit worried for SCAD in that series, and then the following one after that, they have to play against OC.
Or George Mason. Hey, don't sleep on my boys from down the road in Nova.
Yeah.
Nah, it's probably going to be OC. I think SCAD will be fine, to be honest with you. We've not seen much to make us believe in OC. I mean, I guess they've been winning their games outside of USF, who we believe to be a legitimate team. But yeah, I mean, SCAD is a little bit on fraud watch. I think they'll be fine, but we'll definitely see what happens with them.
My guy Jill on UNC, I'm looking at you. Be the difference maker against Mixture.
I mean, dude, that'd be hype. I forgot Mixture was on SCAD. He's like their best player too, my boy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Seal's been so much fun.
Oh, CLOL has been fun. Honestly, Weber just took a game off of UCI. They're looking like one of the strongest teams right now. Actually, I probably am going to move this team up in my rankings after their performance against the Anteaters. But, dude, like, I don't know if this is crazy to say, but I don't think I want to play against UCLA in round 1 of West either.
West is a very interesting conference where you have a bunch of teams that aren't, like, super good, but teams that, like, are all very, very solid. Like, after UCI, I feel like UCI and Weber are, like, the very clear number 1
They're
and
number
2.
1 and 2.
But like
it's like wide open. It could be anybody.
2 through like 12 or 13 is just like they're all like master average teams that can all pop off on like their good day. Like I think we were all expecting like a team like UC San Diego to take care of business against ASU.
Lower bracket.
Not really looked that good. But ASU like smacked them 2-0 in round 5 and now get the double elimination spot in round 1, whereas UC San Diego are now down in the lower bracket. So it's a crazy time to be in the West Conference.
Yeah, West, I think, is actually sneakily the second most exciting bracket, Grapes, just because I feel like North has like one spot up for grabs, and then honestly, I don't know if anyone's going to play spoilers in South except for like UT Dallas, right? Whereas, like you said, like West has such a wide open door for 2 other teams to just like completely make their mark in CLOL.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge, huge deal. So I know we meme on West a lot, but I think if you're actually looking at like some hype playoffs to watch and some great League of Legends, I'm looking at West this season.
There's going to be so many games on Saturday. Holy cow.
God,
like,
fucking incredible,
there's going to be
dude.
too many games to watch.
Dude, shout out to
my
Weber for
goodness.
having me and Sean on the show, by the way. It was fun to cast. The series against UCI was fun. God, yeah, dude, CLOL is gonna be insane.
Yeah, the lower
We're gonna have
bracket. The lower bracket of East is also insane, where you have
I know. We're
Baruch
saying
versus
goodbye to
Waterloo. You have Stony Brook
16
versus
teams
RIT.
this week already. We're gonna cut
Yeah.
a quarter of the field in week 1 of playoffs.
It's gonna be great, and they're not gonna be full streams anywhere. But if you do want to learn a little bit more about some of these teams, you can check out CLOL Office Hours. That'll be dropping this Friday, with some sort of bracketology as well. I think we'll do another round of that. So if you're interested into seeing what the national championship bracket could look like if the season ended today, make sure to tune in on Friday. We'll have a big reveal of that. But that's gonna do it for this episode, Hawk. It felt like the first one where we really just. I feel like there's more that we could have talked about on this episode.
Oh,
that
yeah.
we didn't, basically.
The
And
last
that's
couple.
crazy.
The last couple we've really they've been longer episodes too. Shout out to everyone still listening. I hope you don't mind us just like yapping for longer as opposed to talking specifically about the headline, because that was definitely what this episode was. But I'm so excited about League of Legends again, man. It's crazy. Like I'm definitely getting back into it. Casting again, like it's reigniting the passion. I think this is definitely like we're entering the 2 or 3 months where this is the time to be a North American League of Legends fan. Fuck the LTA, bro. Go watch NACL. Go watch OQs. Go watch CLOL. This is where it's all at. Especially CLOL. Like if you want to watch like players that have been playing each other for like 3 years, like and that fucking hate each other, like that's the place to be. I mean,
Absolutely. Hate each other but love each other. I think
hate each other,
is
but yeah,
the
exactly.
way.
They couldn't live without each other. You know, it's
Yeah.
like the Joker and Batman in that one movie. But oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Check out all of our socials at Salty Runback NA, Patreon at Salty Runback NA. Check out Toasty Alex. Shout out to him for coming on and sending Pro POV. We'll have another one this week, as well as starting to roll out some of our other monthly shows for the Overdosed patrons. Make sure you join our Discord. We're having a lot of good discussions. I've been really pleased. I've been saying this every week. Really pleased at like actually how active our Discord is, and I don't feel like I have to talk the whole time. It's amazing. We have good community over there. And check us out at Hawkcasts, at Speedy Grapes. But if you think that CLOL playoffs are just going to be a formality, you're a dipshit, but you can take what we said with a grain of salt. I've been Hawk. That's been Grapes. Have a good night.